Good evening, Unique Couples community. We are Vito and Linda Patrick. We are here in Freeport, Grand Bahama, in the Bahamas, and we just want to welcome you to another Unique Couples Sunday Night Live.
Yep.
If you haven't subscribed to the Unique Couples YouTube channel, you want to go ahead and subscribe to the Unique Couples YouTube channel and make sure you turn on that notification bell and select all so you can know every time we go live here at Unique Couples. Go ahead and type in the chat hashtag live squad. Let us know where you're watching from. Let us know how long you've been married, how many years you've been married. For those of you that'll be watching the replay, go ahead and type in hashtag replay. We have a special guest in the house today. She's going to be introduced a little later. Very shortly, she'll be introduced. We have a special guest in the house today.
So we're talking about
5 ways money destroys marriage.
So we don't actually want to destroy our marriage, but we know that finances and relationships, marriage, really sometimes clash when it doesn't really have to. And so today we're looking at money, and what it can or cannot do. And today we're talking about how it could destroy your marriage. So this is our time where we're talking about money and relationships. And we are excited to have our special guest. She is an intimacy relationship coach and author of a new book. We'll hear about that later as well, all the way from
Delaware.
Yes, USA in the house.
Yeah.
So hello, Debra.
Hi.
Yes, we are so happy to have you tonight sharing with us and our community here at Unique Couples. And yeah, so like this issue, dealing with money is a little kind of like tricky issue. And I'll say it's a tricky little issue for me too. So anytime, money comes up, it's either, some people might have a problem with it, or some people, kind of like care less about it. Like, there's just so much extremes. But when it comes to it actually impacting your relationship, that is definitely something that we have to look at. So let's start. Tell our viewing audience a little about yourself and what you do, and how long have you been married? Give us an insight into who you are.
Okay. Well, first of all, I just want to thank you for allowing me to be here. I always love to support and be a part of different couples who are building marriages. I'm all about building marriages. My name is Debra B. Hamilton. I'm a relationship and intimacy coach. I've been doing this for over 3 years. I've actually been doing it for years, but I've been doing it professionally for 3 years. I love what I do. I love helping couples. I love seeing the transformations that take place when they get it, right? Like when you finally connect and you really understand each other and you really can relate and you really look at yourself. And I am so into making sure that you look at yourself and you look at what you're doing in the relationship, right? What part you're playing in the relationship, which is so important. So tonight's topic about 5 ways money destroys marriages is really perfect because money plays a huge part in our relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you come into it knowing about money or whether you come into a relationship and you don't have a clue about money. Because let's just be realistic. Some of us leave home and get married, right? We go from our parents' home to being married.
Yeah.
And so we haven't had that part of actually being on our own, being responsible, right? So when you run into those type of situations and you come together as one, then that's when you find out the whole thing about money. And then you also have people who have actually been on their own for a long time because we are getting married later and later in life, right? So we've been responsible for ourselves and now we're coming together as a couple, a totally different dynamic again. So there's different ways to really look at how money can affect your relationships. And I'm going to cover 5 things tonight. And one of them is topic is what's mine, yours, and ours. Right? That's one.
Yes. Oh, that is definitely going to
Yes.
be one that we need to take note of. So, those of you who are watching, joining us now, we are talking about 5 ways money destroys marriage. So, if you're here and someone you know who is married isn't, you need to go and let them know to come and join us for this live. Tonight, Unique Couples show is sponsored by, and we're so thankful for our sponsors who made it possible. So we just want to shout out our sponsors. Hair to Please, we have Party with Serenity, Nails, the Creative Nail Solution with Anna. Also, we want to shout out
Style Me Pretty.
Style Me Pretty, yes.
Yes. And we also have
Signature
Signature
Choices.
Choices. Yes.
Yes. And a special shout out to Freeport Insurance Agents and Brokers. Yes. Freeport Insurance Agents and Brokers for participating and partnering with us during this Unique Couples Sunday Night Live. So we're all excited about that. Go ahead, hit them up, go and contact them and let them know Unique Couples sent you because, hey, our families need to be protected, loved, cared for, and there's so many ways. So we're talking about 5 ways money destroys marriage. So Debra said she has 5 ways. So go ahead, put your comments in the chat. If you have a question, go ahead and put your questions in the chat and let us know your takeaways. So it is going to be quick. So don't miss a thing. Don't miss a beat. Here we come with the 5 ways money destroys marriage. Okay, Miss Debra, you can go ahead.
All right. Like I said before, I'm going to be talking about topic 1, what's mine, yours, and ours. Topic 2, debt, right? Then topic 3, personality when it comes to actually dealing with money. How does your personality fall into that? And then I'm going to talk about power play. Ooh, didn't think about that one, huh? And then I'm going to talk about extended family. And I think we all can relate to extended family and how that can bring a different dynamic to the relationship, right? And I took plenty of notes, so I'm going to use some of my notes to make sure that I'm covering everything and don't miss anything for you. But I wanted to also bring out that about 1/3 of adults with partners report that money is a big source of conflict in their relationships. And I know some of you can relate to that. That's one of the biggest things that actually causes divorce is finances. And I also wanted to throw out here, how many people actually had the conversation about finances before they even were married? And that's an interesting question. So I would love to get your input on that. Like, really, how many people had that conversation about finances before they were married? I have a total of 39 years of marriage. I was married for 34 years, and I've been married a little over 5 years now with my second husband. And both times I had the conversation about finances. So that was not a big issue in my relationships because I talked about it before. And some of us have had the conversation, but one of the things we also need to think about is that finances changes over a period of time. And so that conversation needs to be ongoing. So let's get into what's mine, yours, and ours, right? When we think about it, when we're bringing our money together, are we saying this is my money, this is your money, and this is our money? How are we breaking it down? Are we deciding that we're going to pay the bills, like come in the middle and here's the budget and we're going to pay those bills and then the rest becomes ours? Have you done that? And then we can also have the issue of, okay, well, let's just split the bills down the middle. And all these things can work for people. However, are we thinking long term when we think about the way we are separating our money? Like, do we have like an emergency fund? Have we even thought about having an emergency fund? What if someone gets sick and they can no longer work? Will one person be able to take care of the bills? Have we put money aside for that? We never know the different dynamics in a relationship. And let me say, COVID has really brought to light what can really happen in a relationship, right? Like, we become super close, and some of us didn't really know our spouses the way we thought we did. So so you find out things that you didn't know about, and then you find out, okay, well, how are their spending habits? Are they more of a spender than you are? Are they more of a saver? How are you deciding on how you're going to spend your money? And like I said, both times I've had the conversation, and we worked it out where we created a budget, and our budget is where we put our money for all the bills. And then we had a separate account for vacations, for extra expenses, because you never know what's going to happen, right? So you make sure that you're trying to be prepared for whatever comes down the line. So of course you can have your own money if that's the way it's going to be set up, or all the money goes into one pot, and then you decide on how you're going to operate with that money. So yours, mine, and ours. Think about it from that perspective. The next one is debt. When you got married, who had the most debt? Have you thought about that? Did you have the discussion about, okay, this is how much debt I'm bringing into the relationship. This is how much debt uh, the other person is bringing into the relationship. Okay. So car loans, student loans, previous mortgages, child support, right? All these things that is causing debt in the relationship. Did you have that conversation? Did you talk about it? Okay. And what was the outcome? Because debt is huge. What are you actually bringing into the relationship? One of the good things about debt, before you got married, whatever debt you had is your debt. It doesn't become the couple's debt until you're married. So you create new debt, right? So what are you doing about your debt? Are you actually paying it off? Because sometimes we have to figure out ways in which we could pay our debt down, right? We want to pay our debt down. And did you have the conversation about who's going to pay what? Are they going to still be responsible for the debt that they brought into the relationship? Are you going to try to, bring it down together? All these different things are good questions to ask each other, because debt is a really big issue that people have, especially the student loans. Student loans are huge, and you have to figure out how you're going to operate that. And then that is where you can also have issues, because one person can have so much more debt than the other person. So what are you going to do about it? How are you going to handle it? Did you have the conversation with each other about the debt that you have, right? So hopefully you guys are giving some feedback to let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know if you had the conversation about debt, if you had the whole conversation about finances. What are your thoughts around it? Do you wish you had the conversation about debt before you got married, to totally understand what that looks like and what is actually going to happen when you're as one? Because when you get married, you become as one. So what was that conversation like? And is that a conversation you still need to have? That's another question, right? Is that a conversation you still need to have about finances, about how you're going to split everything up, and about how much debt you have in your relationship? So just keep in mind, like I said, when someone brings debt into the relationship, it's their debt, because most debt is based on your social security number. So as a couple, you're not responsible for each other's debt. And that can be helpful too, but you still need to be able to incorporate that debt within the finances within the home. So those are two of the things that we need to think about when it comes to finances in the relationship. And then the third thing is personality. What is your personality when it comes to finances? Hmm. Are you a spender? Are you a saver? Are you just one of these people that might want to have what's the word I want to use? Mm, mm, mm. Future self gratification or future self sufficiency. A lot of us save for retirement. A lot of us think about retirement. So we might not want to spend all of our money up front. Also, are you trying to be the Joneses when it comes to your personality? Do you have to spend a lot to show off? Are you a show? Do you show off? Do you have to have this big house to impress your family and friends? I mean, I watch HGTV, and 9 times out of 10, they're talking about, well, we got to have this big house because I want to impress the family. I want to impress the friends. Is any of those people paying your mortgage? That's what I'm always thinking when people talk about that. Is anyone that you are trying to impress, are they willing to help you pay your mortgage? Something to think about, right? So whatever profile you have, whether you're a spender or whether you're a saver, did you have that conversation? Did you talk about the personality that you're bringing into the relationship? Did you even pay attention before you got married? Because there are all kind of ways in which we notice excuse me, we notice how our partners are spending their money before you even get married, right? So you really do learn and understand someone's personality when it comes to spending money. Did you pay attention to their personality when it came to spending money? Were you aware of whether they were, excuse me, whether they were a saver or whether they were a spender or whether they wanted to be grandiose in what they did? And some people, and it's not a negative, but some people spend and not even aware. They're in their spending habits, they're not even aware that they're spending all of this money and how it could be affecting someone else. Especially when I was saying that you might have been single for a long period of time and you were responsible for yourself, and then you come into a relationship, but you were just used to spending whatever you wanted to spend because it was just you. Now there's another person involved. So how are their spending habits affecting a relationship now? Because that could be a hindrance, especially someone who wants to save. And I'm very fortunate because I have a husband who likes to save. I mean, he spends, we both spend, and but we like to save money. We're not extravagant. We live below our means. So when something does come up and something happens, we have put money aside to be able to deal with the extra expenses that could come about. So we knew each other's spending habits before we got married. That was one of the things I definitely needed to know, because I came into the relationship debt free. I had no debt. I had absolutely no debt when I came into this relationship. So I definitely wanted to know what his spending habits were before we got married, because I didn't want to get into a situation where I have no debt and then you have a lot of debt. And then guess what? You're going to continue to accumulate that debt. So we have to know each other's personality when it comes to, how we're spending our money, right? We have to make sure that we're doing that. Now, the other thing that we got to consider is power play. Power play it happens different ways. It's when a partner gets paid more money on their job, right? They make more money than you make, right? Or when one partner is working and the other one is unemployed. That's another way a power play could come into play. Also, what about the person who might have money, right? Like their family has money, and so they've inherited this money, or they're living off of an inheritance or whatever. That's another way of a power play. So there's all different types of power plays, and it all depends on how you handle it. Are you gonna or you want to come in and
Go ahead.
did you want me to finish?
Yes, finish your thought. Go ahead.
Oh,
We
okay.
just had some questions, especially on this power play and something else, but you could finish your thought.
Okay. All right. So with the power play, we want to be careful if one person is making more than the other. How are you making your spouse feel when you make more money than your spouse? When you feel like because you make more money or because you're bringing home the money that you have the power to
Mhm.
tell them how the money is going to be spent, and that they have to come to you, they have to ask you for money, they got to tell you where the money is going. So all of that is a power play. All of
Mhm.
that is saying, okay, I'm making the money, so I'm going to be the one who's going to tell you how we're going to spend the money. So how do you feel about that? And so since there's questions about it, I'm interested in finding out what questions you have about that.
Yes, yes. So you would have couples who definitely have this issue with power play, especially when you have the female making more money, than her husband. And so, it's not something that occurs all the time, but you have instances where the female might be the one carrying out. Well, I'm making the most money, so I wear the pants in the house, and her attitude may not be one that is pleasant to
Mhm.
this connection that is needed in the relationship. So there might be conflict because of this. What would you say to couples who are facing that type of issue, where the wife is making? How should she relate to a husband who may be making less? Should there be a difference? Let us know your thoughts on that.
Well, the issue becomes, and everything that I'm talking about tonight is communication. Are you having that conversation about money and about how the money is going to be spent? And one of the things we never ever want to do is make our spouse feel less than, right? It doesn't matter who has the money. You don't want your spouse to feel less than. So you're going to have that conversation with how you as a couple decide on how the money is going to be spent, how the money is going to be put aside for emergencies. So I tell everyone it's an ongoing conversation that you're going to be having to make sure that you're not letting someone feel less than. And normally, before you get married, each person kind of knows what you're bringing into the household, right? So that's where that conversation comes in. So when you both know what you're bringing in, you should have been having that conversation anyway. You should have been having that conversation before you got married. You should have been having that conversation as you're, going through how money is coming in more than what you thought it'd be coming in. So it's conversation, conversation, conversation. That's the bottom line.
That's definitely just kind of like a must with the
Yes.
conversation before, because so many couples wait until they're married to have those type of conversation when it's too late. Like, what, you owe this? You have this amount of debt, so
Yeah.
that becomes an issue. So having that, talking about those things even before you get married, and that's why we encourage premarital counseling. See someone, get a mentor,
Mhm.
really have those discussions before, because you don't want to be blindsided. You want to go in with your eyes open as wide as possible for some of the things that you could kind of gauge and have an idea of before marriage, because in marriage you will get some curveballs. So preparing in advance and knowing some of the things that, some of the issues that will arise, dealing with that, and knowing, being aware of that, would just definitely put your marriage on a greater footing and foundation, instead of just kind of like waiting until the problem arises. Yeah.
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 And another question came in, goes back to point number two as it relates to debt.
Mhm.
What advice would you give couples in terms of getting rid of debt? What should be the best approach? How should they communicate how to get rid of debt?
Two ways in which I tell people to get rid of debt. Number one, of course, the conversation. First of all, you total up all your debt, right?
Mm-hmm.
And okay, let's not. And the other thing is, no secrets, no secrets. If you truly love your spouse, you're supposed to trust your spouse, right? So no secrets, no hidden this or hidden that. So you come together and you talk about what debt you do have.
Mm-hmm.
And my approach is, okay, you could start with the lowest bill and you could pay that off, or you start with the highest bill and pay that down. It's up to the couples, right? But you conquer and eliminate. That's what you do. You conquer and eliminate. You can start with the lowest bill, pay that off. And when you start with the lowest bill and you pay it off, it's a sense of accomplishment,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's a sense of accomplishment when you pay off the lowest bill. You get that out of the way, and then you go to the next bill, and then you pay that off, and then, and I tell everybody, celebrate that you paid that bill off. And I'm not saying go and do anything extravagant. You can do a happy dance. I don't care what you do, but celebrate that accomplishment, because that means that you've done something together as a couple. So that would be my suggestion, to how you can handle that and how you can slowly get rid of the debt when two people are open and honest about the debt that they have.
Yes, definitely. So another question has to do with, oh geez, I think I missed that question. Oh yes, yeah. The other question has to do with, okay, I guess debt in terms of, okay, what are you doing in terms of in-laws or in-laws that,
Well, that was going
yeah,
to be my next
that's something.
point.
Okay, so that's the next point. We'll save that question, and for that. So we talked about. Let us know the points again. We talked about number one was
What's yours, mine, and ours
yes. Number two,
was debt.
debt. Okay. Number three is
Personality.
personality,
Yes.
and four was power play. Power play. And when you talked about the personality, that's a big one because
It is.
your money personality affects so much of what
Mhm.
you do and how you spend and how you look at life. And one of the important points that we would have gotten as well when you look at money and your money personality or just money on a whole, when you look at money, is what are you going to use this money for? So having that vision as a couple, the future of what you want, so that you could, yes, when it's time to actually practice delayed gratification, it happens. So that is definitely a key point to look at as it relates to money. So these things can really destroy people's marriages if they do not take them into consideration. Okay, so I think we're ready for number 5. Just before you go to number 5, we want to say we have some exciting things happening this week, this month, right? And tomorrow we have a awesome conversation in Sip and Spill that is in the How to Strengthen Your Marriage Facebook group. So go ahead and join us in there. If you have not registered to be a part of that group, or you haven't joined us yet, go ahead and do that. And we want to say register to receive our How I Love tracker.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's going to keep you on track to see how you are loving your spouse on a daily basis. So once you join the group, you will have access to that How I Love tracker. So go ahead and join the group. Yeah, so the conversation tomorrow has to do with how to recover after an affair. Okay, how to recover after an affair. We know money is a big issue in relationships. Infidelity is definitely a big issue. So if you are not a part of the group, go ahead and join. We are talking about how to recover after an affair. We have special guests coming on to join us, Alan and
Dolores McKenzie.
yes, they'll be joining us tomorrow, 7 o'clock. We have our special time. We're usually at 7:30, but we extended the time, so we'll start at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join us for that conversation. And then on Wednesday for Unique Couples After Dark
right
YouTube.
here,
Yes.
exclusively in the Unique Couples YouTube channel.
Okay, what time is that?
9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you don't want to miss Unique Couples After Dark. This is where we take it a little deeper. So you want to make sure you tune in this Wednesday for it. Also, if you haven't joined the Unique Couples Marriage Club, you want to be a part of the Unique Couples Marriage Club. We want to see marriages thrive. We want you to take your marriage to the next level. Motivation, inspiration, and transformation. So make sure you are a part of the Unique Couples Marriage Club. We want to see marriages thrive. So make sure go ahead and click on the link in the description so you can become a part of the Unique Couples Marriage Club.
Yes, and we'll talk about treasure hunt. You have to be a part of it. It's Love is an Adventure Treasure Hunt. The link is in the description. Go ahead and join. So I have to get back to Wednesday night. Because we have a special guest for Wednesday night. You know, after dark, Vito and I would usually come on, but on Wednesday night, we have a marriage therapist coming on to join us, Shamarie. She is all the way from Los Angeles. She will be joining us, and the topic of discussion, we had people really interested in this topic and really wanting to know about it. So we have to share it tonight, okay? And it's how to deal with low libido, okay? So if you are a wife whose husband is experiencing that, if you're a husband who is experiencing that, don't be shy. Don't shy away. You could come and join us on YouTube, right? Exclusively on YouTube for our Unique Couples After Dark conversation. So you could go ahead and join us for that conversation on Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay. So, yes, relationship and intimacy coach. Yes, all of that, specializing in empowering women and also marriage and family therapists, like I said. So you want to be there for that conversation as she talks about how to deal with low libido. So sex is an issue, money is an issue, infidelity. We're talking about all those things, and we're so excited to have Debra with us all the way from Delaware to share on 5 ways money destroys marriage. And before you think that, oh my goodness, I'm just destroying my marriage, we want you to apply the principles and the tips to not allow money to destroy your marriage. And the first thing you have to do is be aware, okay? Be aware, okay? And just get connected, intimacy in all ways. And of course, if you want to increase the intimacy in your marriage, in your life, definitely connect with us. We have a how to strengthen your marriage and have the marriage of your dreams, even if your spouse doesn't want to challenge. That will be in the How to Strengthen Your Marriage group. So you want to be in the group so you can have access to all of that. That 5-day challenge is definitely going to help you to connect to your spouse in many different ways to get closer. And it's all free. So go ahead and join us in the group. The link is in the description. Thanks for joining us. I see Kathy and Gia and Julie and all of you who are here. Remember to share, because we want to help, right? And your sharing is going to help someone's marriage be better, be stronger, be healthier. So we're ready for number 5. Yes, number five. Yes, how? 5 ways. We're talking about 5 ways money destroys marriage. And we're saying, don't allow money to destroy yours.
Don't. All right. Number 5, extended family. This is a really big one. Believe me, I know this. I have issues too. When we as a couple allow our family members to get involved with borrowing money, needing help, like so many different examples of someone's mother wants to go on vacation and they want you to help pay for that vacation, right? Or you have a deadbeat brother who can't pay the rent, so he wants you to come and help pay the rent, right?
All the time.
Yes.
Like on repeat.
Yes. and and then they feel like your money is their money,
It,
right?
They
it,
got that first one mixed up.
is
Like
it
yours, mine. They think your money is theirs as well.
is it a one-time occasion or is it
No,
all the
this
time?
is like all the
No,
time.
it's ongoing. It's ongoing. Believe me, I've lived it. I know. I have family members who, you know, need help from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is one of the dynamics. There's two, but this dynamic about, extended family members needing help. And it's nothing wrong with helping your family. But have you had the conversation on how you're going to help your family?
Mm.
Another key. Have you had the conversation? People are struggling, especially during the pandemic, right? You wind up having family members that have really been struggling because they lost their jobs. They couldn't work for several months. Okay. So you have to have the conversation as a couple to determine how much can you, will you support and help your family, right? So always remember it's okay to help your family, but you have to have that conversation with each other because the other spouse can feel resentful over the fact that you are actually giving the household money away. And then they can feel like, well, wait a minute, hold up. You helping your mother go on vacation? Well, I want to go on vacation too. Or are you helping that deadbeat brother pay his rent again? Well, that money could go towards our kids' college fund. You see how that works? Like you have to have the conversation so there won't be resentment built up because resentment will come when you are giving money away to family members. And especially, remember, I talked about how you can have a budget and you can put your money in a pile together and then you allocate the money based on your budget for your bills. What if you're giving away the bill money?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yes. Or the money that you need to feed your kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
All of that
Right.
matters. It counts. So communication definitely is a big thing. And some couples actually have a problem with communicating.
Yes.
About anything. They start communicating and it's an argument. They start communicating and someone gets offended. So it's just simple things like that we're saying, hey, get help.
Yes.
Be in a community, be around married couples who are doing it correctly, who are that you could learn something from. So definitely join us in the Unique Couples Marriage Club. Join us in the How to Strengthen Your Marriage, where we occasionally give do our trainings and stuff in there as well. So do not not get help, right? Get the help that you need when you need it. Don't allow your marriage to be destroyed over these small things, these big things, these issues, because your marriage should be the most important issue. Yes, your marriage definitely needs. Thanks for joining us, Deborah. Deborah from Build Your Best Life Now. Sorry, it's Coach Debra D. Smith. Yeah, so go and check Debra out, Build Your Best Life with Debra D. Smith on Facebook and all over social media. Thanks for joining us. And Lynn Corley, yes, I mentioned that earlier. Hello, Alphanique, thanks for joining us as well. So we've been talking about 5 ways money destroy your marriage, and we're saying what? Don't allow it to destroy your marriage.
Yes,
don't allow it. Yeah.
Communicate about it.
Definitely.
Talk about it.
Communicate. Yeah.
Definitely. So, Deborah, do you have any final advice or thoughts that you want to leave our couples with? And this is a good conversation too for people who aren't married. So we'll go ahead and share this. Share this with couples who are thinking about it. Who are thinking about it. Yeah, they need to hear this as well. So go ahead. Any final words and thoughts you can let us know.
Yeah, I wanted to also talk about the other side of it, because you can have grandparents that can affect your relationship, because you can have one grandparent that has all this money that can just, bombard your children with gifts. And then you can have another grandparent that don't have any money, that doesn't have any money, that can only do the bare minimum. So that has to be a balance too. And you have to have that conversation with your parents to say, okay, we appreciate what you're doing, but my child doesn't need all of that, right?
Mhm.
My child can, we will accept a certain amount, but my child doesn't need it all. So that can be an issue. But in the final analysis, we all need to just communicate with one another no matter what's going on in our relationship, because we don't want finances to affect us, and it affect us not only in the household but it intimately, right? When you're angry about money, you're not going to think about being intimate with each other. You don't want to be intimate because you're angry about the money situation. You don't want that. So having that conversation over and over again, and talk about expectations. And for those who might be listening in that aren't even married yet, please have the conversation. Please, that's one of the things that you should be talking about when it comes to expectations. What do you want in your marriage? What do you want from your spouse? And expectations do change. So continue to have this conversation, and also recommend that if you're struggling with finances, have a financial date. Pick out once a month, once a week, to talk about how you're going to conquer the financial issues you're having in your relationship. And once you set that up, the more you talk about it, the easier it becomes. And it becomes to the point where you're not afraid to talk about it, because when you talk about it, you're resolving it. And that's the key. You want to resolve your financial issues so that you can feel closer to your spouse. You can feel intimate with your spouse, so you don't have to feel like you don't even want to look at them because you're mad at them with the money that they spend. So communicate, communicate, communicate.
Definitely, definitely.
Awesome, awesome. One thing on with the grandparents. So grandparents normally say it's my job to spoil my grandkids. How do parents address that? What advice would you give parents?
You have to discuss it as a couple to determine how much you're going to allow. Keep in mind, it's your household. It's your household. I don't care how much the grandparents want to be involved. It's your household. And when you guys are together in deciding what you want for your children, then you determine what you're going to accept for your grandchildren. I mean, for your children, right?
Mhm.
So it's a conversation that you both have to be in agreement with. I don't care how much money the grandparents have. If you don't want them to overly spoil the kids, that it affects them, that they don't understand what money is all about, because guess what, it can become generational, right?
Yeah.
So if you as a grandparent is coming into your children's household dictating what needs to be done with the grandchildren, you're overstepping your bounds. So remember that grandparents can overstep their bounds, and you have to be in agreement with what that's going to look like for you as a couple. So each couple has to decide how much or how little they want their parents to do for their children.
Definitely.
Okay.
And all of that is conversations. So you had to have scenarios that we go through. And
Yep.
that is also a part of what we do in our marriage coaching. So, hey, make sure connect with us and
Join the club.
join the club. Yes.
Yes.
So we're all excited about tomorrow night in the How to Strengthen Your Marriage group. Join tonight so that you can get access to the How I Love tracker and then be a part of the 5-day challenge. How to strengthen your marriage and have the marriage of your dreams, even if your spouse doesn't want to challenge. And we are so excited about this conversation because money is a big issue in marriages. And yeah, people file for divorce because of money. You might think,
Yeah.
what? Like, really? So, Deborah, this is definitely a great conversation, information sharing for our community. So, I know you had some big news going
Yeah.
on. You had some big news, a new book. So share
Yeah.
with us about your book and then share with us about how we can reach our community could reach you on social media. Here it is. Here it is.
Yes, mastering communication in your relationships and marriage. I am huge on communication, and that's why I kept saying communication
Communication.
throughout this
Yes.
conversation, right? So, because of the struggles that I see couples having with communicating, I wrote this book to help you in your communication skills. And it starts off with creating boundaries, right? We have to create boundaries. We have to know what our boundaries are. We have to make sure that a person is treating us the way we want to be treated before you can even continue the conversation,
Yeah.
right? I also talk about active listening. Active listening is huge. How are you listening? Are you listening to understand, or are you listening to respond?
Yes,
Huge.
that's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And are you comprehending what's being said? Are you opening up your heart to hear what your spouse, what your partner is saying to you so that you can respond in a loving, kind way? So it's so much in this book. There are worksheets, questions, diagrams. This book is small, but I say my book is small, but it is mighty because it
Power
really gives
packed.
you, huh?
Power packed.
That's right. That's right. Because it gets you to think about how you are showing up in your communication, right? In your conversation. So I'm very proud of this book. I'm so excited that I was able to write it. I hope that you guys will order it because, like I said, it's really going to help you to improve in your conversations and in learning how to communicate.
Yes. Tell them again how they can get a copy of the book.
It's on Amazon. So you can go to Amazon. I'm Amazon.com/Arthur/Deborah Barnes Hamilton. So that's how
Awesome.
you can get it. It's on Amazon. I'm so excited.
Yes, mastering communication in your relationships and marriage. Communication is like foundation in marriage. If you're not communicating and understanding each other, then you will be running into a whole lot of problems. Okay,
Yes.
so share with our viewing audience how they can get in touch with you. Is there a website? Um, yeah.
My website is nurtureyourlove.com. You can also find me on Nurture Your Love Instagram, on Instagram, Nurture Your Love. So that's my company name. And I'm all about nurturing your love. So everything is nurture your love. So check me out. Come see what I'm doing.
Awesome, awesome. That is great. Yeah, so 5 ways money destroys your marriage. If you didn't catch us at the beginning, go ahead, watch the replay. Let us know your
Mm-hmm.
comments, your takeaways. You should have been putting those in the chat. Let us know your takeaways in the chat. Um, we'll follow up with any questions. So those of you who are in the How to Strengthen Your Marriage Facebook group, you can continue putting in your comments and questions. And we will see you tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is going to be
7 p.m.
7 p.m. We start a little earlier. Exciting conversation. Invite a married couple. Now, the group is called How to Strengthen Your Marriage, and it's marriage for a reason because it is actually for married couples, right? So that group is specifically for married couples. So when you invite only the married couples. We have a relationship group, How to Strengthen Your Relationship. So those persons who are single and dating, committed, engaged, they can join that group where we will have conversations for them as well. Yes. So go ahead, invite a friend. Like we say, when you share, you're helping someone. We want marriages to thrive. Yes, we want marriages to thrive. Thanks so much, Deborah, for joining us. We definitely must have you again to be with us here in our unique couples community. Thanks for sharing. So go ahead. You heard the book, Mastering Communication in Your Relationships and Marriage. Get your copy today. Remember to join us for our treasure hunt. Go and get your ticket. And the great thing about the treasure hunt is that, like we design it, especially for you. Okay, so you go ahead, give us those details. We design it especially for you, so you don't have to do the work. Yeah. So both you and your spouse could be surprised going to identify each of the clues and making, kind of like finding the treasure at each spot. Okay. And so go ahead and get your treasure hunt package. The link is in the description. And see you in the How to Strengthen Your Marriage Facebook group. Register for the tracker. The tracker is going to keep you accountable to yourself too. Yes, and how you love your spouse. So go ahead and join us. Thank you all for joining us, and remember to share.
Yes. So here at Unique Couples, we are building stronger couples, healthier marriages, and happier families. We love you guys. Have a great evening. See you tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the How to Strengthen Your Marriage Facebook group.
Awesome.
Have a great week.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
At Wrights Enterprise, our slogan is Dreams on Wheels. Let us customize a trailer to accommodate your business's needs. From clothing and apparel, shoes and accessories, to hair and nails, we are the perfect choice for your mobile business. Contact 646-8464 for more info and follow us on IG at Wrights_Enterprise 242.